Are you so glad that I introduced anime to you?
Listen, I have a feeling you knew this is the route that it was going to go. And so you just wanted me to be like a millennial hipster about it and like it before it was cool.
I mean,
Look at you.
I'm taking that as a thank you, so you're welcome.
Congratulations, you did it. Should we talk anime?
Yeah.
Welcome to Princess and Scoundrel, where we take you along our scrappily ever after, from Fantasyland to Tatooine to the world of animation and anime in between. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Steven.
And we're talking East versus West, anime versus Western animation. I don't know what the showdown
not
is.
East West Disney. Now we're talking.
We've expanded globally here. We're not pitting the parks against one another, but we're talking specifically about animation styles and shows because
I mean, I think the thing is like, so, we're Disney 90 animation baby, we watched all the Disney movies, and I was like getting you like just watch this anime, and you were not with it initially.
No, we've been together a long time.
I finally got you.
It's been a long fight.
So I started getting you to watch an anime, a couple animes.
Yeah.
Lots of animes now.
Now a lot, yeah.
But
am I a weeb? Is that what they call them now?
Yeah, that's kind of a
Is that term. That's like not an, I don't know what it is, so I don't want to use that term. Somebody called me that and I was like, I don't know how to feel.
But now Disney's doing anime.
Wild.
Yeah.
And more than one.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. So that's why we wanted to have this conversation, because you have been indoctrinating me more and more into anime.
You're welcome.
And actually enjoying it, because now I'm the one that's suggesting like, oh, we need to watch this one. We should cosplay as these people.
Such great cosplays.
Oh, they are really good cosplays.
Like every one of them is like there's.
That's why I wanted to get into this whole like helmet wig making catastrophe that it has become. Long story short, I really wanted to make a Zoe wig for Halloween. I was like, I'm going to make a helmet wig because that's what all the really good cosplayers do. I don't know what I'm doing. I've never worked with wigs before. I was like, sure, I'll jump into the absolute hardest wig making there is. It was awful. I gave up. I haven't touched
it. For now. You gave up for now, but eventually
maybe we'll come back to it because you can make their hair defies physics and gravity, and it's beautiful, and I would love to learn how to do that. But yeah, once I got into it, I was all in every regard. It's not just like watching it. I'm like, should I read that manga? Should I make that cosplay? Should I learn how to do a whole new craft? I'm in.
Yep.
So this is what we want to talk about. Disney is not even arguably like the leader, the king of Western animation. Like you alluded to, we grew up with Disney animation and that renaissance of animation with all of the Beauty and the Beast, Little Mermaid, Aladdin movies. You've got shows like Gargoyles. You've got all of this wonderful animation. And that's what we grew up on. We fed on that as children. And that's what we know animation to be, because we're here in the US, right? Anime, I think technically, to call it an anime, it has to be created by a Japanese animation studio. Yeah. Yes, it is a style, but really it has to be made in Japan for it to count.
Yeah. There's that technicality, but there are like sentiments within anime that you could say, oh, okay, this is anime-like, and I always kind of call back to it as like Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Yeah,
it's very anime-esque, but it's not an anime. It's an animation, like a Western animation.
Right.
It's more of a technicality that it has to be, from Japan. But again, there's a lot of elements in anime that get shared like through each of the animes.
Right.
So like if you want to consider it an anime, it has to go within this realm of animation.
And forget that. If you like it, just call whatever you want. I don't care. I'm not judging here. I call everything anime now. Like, oh yeah, I like that anime. You're like, that's not, no. But the reason we want to talk about this is because Disney's done two things, and they're kind of testing the waters of anime in two different ways. One of them is Star Wars Visions, which is this anthology of, I guess, shorts. They're kind of like 15, 20 minutes long. Maybe the first season I feel like was a little bit shorter, but this most recent season that just came out at the end of October 2025, they're about 15, 20 minutes long, and it's a different Japanese animation studio for this season and a different story for each one. So they're different styles, it's different characters, it's completely different. This one had 9 episodes. This is, again, the 3rd season. They've had 2 others. Season 2 was actually not anime. It was just animation studios from around the world, like South Korea, France. I said France. France. South Africa. But so they're doing that with Star Wars specifically. And then with their original Disney IP, they just launched a true long form anime called Twisted Wonderland, which is based off of this like mobile game. So they're taking 2 different routes. They're going like full on anime, and then they're like, let's test the water with some shorts.
Yeah. Well, so the Visions, the first time they did it, this is where I kind of want you to put your past Sarah and current Sarah.
Oof.
Because when Visions first came out, I'm like, oh, this is all me. It's Star Wars. It's anime. Like, I'm down for it. Let me check it out. And like you said, it's this like anthology. So they're not necessarily canon events.
Right.
So it's not within the big, Star Wars story, but they have like every element from Star Wars there. Lightsabers, droids, spaceships, the Empire, Jedi, like they have it all there. Mm-hmm. So it's like, it has Star Wars there.
Right.
And it's just done in a different style. The storytelling, it's way shorter. So it's like this, they're for like short films. Mm-hmm. But then we watched the first season, second season, like you said, it's the same. It was the same feeling, but it wasn't anime. It was different animation studio. So it was just animation.
Yeah.
I considered season 2 just the animation variety. And then season 3 is back to more the anime. So from season 1 to season 3, how do you feel watching each of the seasons?
So I was apprehensive going into both season 1 and season 3. So the true animation seasons. And the reason for that is season 1 came out in 2021. That was before I watched any anime. And let me tell you where I got hooked on anime, because I know a lot of people lately are like, y'all watch that? You watch that? That's weird. I'm like, you're weird. But it was watching the One Piece live action. It's not anime. It's the live action of the One Piece show. But by the end, I didn't realize like how much growth the characters had. That by the end of it, I'm like crying by how much growth they had in just one season. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. I love it. I need more storytelling like this, because it was so different and it like snuck up on me. And that's why I think I started falling for anime, because I'm like, oh, I really love like the intricacies and the nuances that happen when you aren't even realizing it. Anyway, so this all happened before I started any kind of anime watching. And I was like, oh, freaking anime. Like, I love
So you watched season 1 as a Star Wars fan.
I watched season 1 as a Star Wars fan. So yes, exactly. I watched season 1 as a Star Wars fan because at the time we were like absolutely head over heels crazy about all things Star Wars. It felt like everything in our life was Star Wars at that point. Like, look around, it still is.
I was like, I kind of still like it.
I feel like we've diversified our portfolio a bit since then, but we were like all in on Star Wars. And so I watched it because it was Star Wars and I wanted that, but it didn't really like hit with me. Some of them I still remember and I really liked. But I think they were probably the more westernized stories than it was the more anime stories. So I went into it that way. Watching this season, I was like, oh no, I really like anime now. Like, are you going to do it right? And am I going to get the same feeling that I get from watching anime in watching these shorts? And if I'm being honest with you, no, I didn't get that feeling. And a couple of them I did.
So this season 3, you watched as
an anime fan that has a very vast history of Star Wars. But here's where it's different for me is we should probably like set the scene on what is the difference between anime and Western animation, because I think that makes a huge difference in understanding how Visions has a huge hurdle to overcome with the format that it's in, right? So for Western animation, it's not necessarily lifelike, but there's a lot more frames per second in the animation. So it's a lot more smoother, not more smoother, just smoother movements and animations. They use like you call it, like, what was it, like squash and stretch.
Yeah. I mean, but I think the thing is like this is where Disney perfected animation. Like they've been like the pioneers in just this animation where it's just so refined, where it looks, you know, realistic, and the movements are, you know, great, and you see every, like, you know, the gant of some guy walking, you know, you could tell because they figured that out.
Yeah, they make it look realistic. And with anime, they throw all of that out the window. It's not anime, but I saw an interview with Tim Burton recently that was like, yeah, I was sitting there and I was trying to draw and I couldn't draw. And then I realized, like, you know what? I can't do all of the figures and the how everybody says you're supposed to draw. And I threw that all away. And I said, I'm just going to draw how I want to draw. I'm just going to draw for whatever comes through my head. And boom, he's like, within a minute, I taught myself how to draw. I went from not being able to drawing. And I feel like animation or anime really leans into that. It's less frames per second, so it's a lot choppier, which I think is like a big hurdle for people to get into because you're used to the smooth.
I think they go from that because of they typically have mangas that they stem from.
Right.
So it's like a graphic novel where they have just like these, you know, pages of, you know, these poses or these actions that these characters are doing. And so then they like, let's translate that to, you know, the anime.
Right.
And so like, then we got to make it move a little bit.
But
they'll keep it pretty still where, you know, you're just seeing the hair flow. But
it also cuts costs too. So they're able to put out more episodes as well because they're not having to animate every single still. So those are the biggest ones, but they can do silly things, right? You can do hard eyes. You can do when they're mad, like steam coming out of their ears. And it's just this kind of suspension of disbelief in anime that I feel like with Western animation, we don't necessarily get. Sometimes you do.
Yeah.
If it's that kind of silly humor that's in that, whatever that show is, sure. But anime, I don't know. There's just some
anime, it could be a very serious show and they could have some very silly things in it.
Yes.
And so it's like they don't pick and choose. They're just like, yep.
Or very like chibi, right? Yeah. Like I know K-pop Demon Hunters isn't anime, but like when they're eating their snacks and they go to like chibi versions of them and their eyes become little like V's, right? Yeah. It's stuff like that in anime.
They're not really restricted by the like anatomy and like movement and physics and stuff like that. So it's like, I think, again, like you said, there's like this freedom that they allow.
Yeah.
You know, this freedom of disbelief.
Yeah. The other thing is like the storytelling between the two. So I'll talk about the Western animation. You can talk about anime. But with Western animation, you have characters that go through whatever the trial or whatever of that episode, and then it kind of resets. The character resets. They may have learned a lesson in the course of that episode, but they'll face something else similar in the next one, and they won't have learned their lesson, right? Like Homer, for example, Homer Simpson. He may do something dumb, and it all works out by the end of the episode, and then the next episode, he does something else that's dumb.
Well, I mean, and I guess that's that term, like the Westerns, right? Here's the hero. They're going to save the day. Here's the baddie of the week. Like, it's very episodic.
Right.
And I think the animes, they tend to be more serialized. So it's the entire story. And they're trying to, you know, give exposition when, you know, a character is thinking about something. Like, you know, I was trying to think of an anime that we've watched where they didn't have like inner monologue, and that's where you get like tons of story because you're getting the conflict that character has, and you know why they're not wanting to do something. And so like in reality, they're just standing there, you know, kind of like Wonder Years, just standing there looking at the other character, but they're thinking so much stuff that you're having to intake.
Yeah, so they go through these, like in anime, they go through these changes and this slow character development. And so if you were to watch an episode of, say, Demon Slayer in the first season versus Infinity Castle, the movie that just came out, the lead character Tanjiro is incredibly different than he was in the beginning. He's had so much growth that you couldn't just do a monster of the week with an anime.
I mean, they kind of have a, you know, monster that they're going after, but that's part of that's the train that they're on to get them to keep growing, right? Like
the Mugen train that they're on. See,
Yeah.
I learned.
There you go. There you go.
But yeah, so that's the main difference. So I think for me, that's where it's hard watching Vision season 3. Now, did I love it? Yes, I did. Because it's Star Wars and it's anime, so it's great. But I'm going to nitpick a little bit in that each of these episodes is only 15.
I think it's because you have to put on, okay, is it a Star Wars hat? Like, all right, Star Wars, like you scratch the itch. For the anime, you're like, oh, like I need more.
I need more.
I need this. I need this.
So it's a little tough because Star Wars inherently...
You start grading a little bit tougher.
Right. Star Wars is Western. Even look at the animation, but like Rebels was very heavily influenced by Avatar: The Last Airbender, which is heavily influenced by anime, but still it's Western, right? They had monsters of the week. They had slow character growth over the seasons, but not quite the same as what you get in an anime. So you have to watch Star Wars kind of with that Western, I don't even want to call it animation, but just like Western storytelling. If you only have 15 or 20 minutes to tell a singular story, it's really hard to pack in the nuances that you get with anime. And so that's where it was really hard for me, because some of these stories felt like a slice of a larger story, but that's all you're getting is this little bit. So you may not get that true resolution. But you got a lot from it, but you didn't. You don't get that it's a lot slower pacing. So to only get like 20 minutes of it, you're like, oh, I need to know what happened there. Where are you going?
Well, and I think that's the part with anime. When you're watching it, you have, again, this inner dialogue, character, conflicts, and you have all this story. And then once you get to that battle, it's a payoff. It's just like, oh, this sweet release. Like, this is what I've been waiting for. And even when that battle, like someone may die, someone may not die, you're still waiting to like the final, okay, this is the end. Like we've won, we've lost, whatever the story is.
Yeah.
And that payoff is like a big payoff because you've kind of been there since the beginning.
Right.
But because it's so short, you're just getting that battle and you're like, oh, like I want to care more about this character, but there's not enough there for me to care. Or they're just giving me just a little bit. So I was like, okay, I care about this one, but maybe I care about this one more because I like this one.
Yeah.
And again, like and I'm thinking in particular because season 3 did have a couple
continuations from season 1.
So I think that was kind of cool because like the Ronin, was
the duel.
The duel. They had a continuation of that.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was the
Lost Ones, which was a
Village
continuation of the Village Bride.
And then the Ninth Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
Was it Ninth Jedi? Yeah, I think it's
the Ninth Jedi.
But there's like this continuation of these characters that you're kind of like, okay, and again, I'm so glad that they let the animation studios get a little bit more time with these characters, so you could kind of like, oh, okay, like this is what we're seeing more of.
Yeah, well, especially with Ninth Jedi, and I think this is really cool because they did announce at Celebration this year that it's getting a spinoff, The Ninth Jedi. So it will have his own dedicated spinoff, which it's a really good story. That's actually one of my favorites from season 1 of Visions. So to see Kara come back and have more story, I was like, oh, this is like an anime, because she went and she had this like little side adventure, but she learned a whole lot from it. Like, did it work out well? Did it not work out well? Like, it scratched the itch on both sides of my brain of like, oh, this was great Star Wars, and this was really good like anime storytelling. And so I'm very excited for that one because I think they're actually throwing more risk behind it by saying, okay, we're going to do a full season of one of these storylines. And so I really, really like that. Now, question for you.
Okay.
Who do you think, because you've asked me, if season 1 I watched as a Star Wars fan, season 3 I watched as an anime fan. Who do you think would like Visions more? Is it Star Wars fans or is it anime fans? And I'll even ask this to you if you're listening or watching. Who do you think would enjoy Visions more? Do you really like it? And are you more Star Wars leaning or more anime leaning?
I think this is where the biggest hurdle Disney is facing, because it is a chance of them taking on this different style. As a Star Wars fan, like I'm a Star Wars fan, but I'm also an anime fan, so I could watch anime and it doesn't have to do anything with Star Wars.
Yeah.
But if you remember from Rebels and Clone Wars, there were Star Wars fans that didn't want to watch any animation.
Yeah, even Western
and then
animation.
It was canon animation. So it was like they didn't want to watch it just because it was animated. So Star Wars fan, like getting a Star Wars fan to watch this animated series, this anthology, that's not their normal Western stories, that's going to be different and they're not going to understand because again, they're not giving you a straight, lore accurate lightsaber or lore accurate Sith Jedi. It's a little bit different.
Yeah.
You have to think about it a little bit. So getting a Star Wars fan to go watch that's a hurdle. Then getting an anime fan that says, I want story, I want lore, I want like this whole built out idea, this manga behind it of what this characters are doing, so we could get all this exposition either before or after, not just the battle. Yes, the battle is like great, but they want more to it.
Yeah.
Like that's the hurdle that Disney has to face. Is like you are putting something out that potentially the two people you're trying to unite, neither of them like it. And so it's like I think it's a very like niche group of people that like, hey, I like Star Wars. I like to see them in different ways. And I think it's kind of apparent now too with all the new Star Wars. We had Skeleton Crew, we had Andor, we have, the new movies, Solo. Like we have these different Mandalorian, Boba Fett. We have all these different Star Wars. We have to be, like they're just different.
They don't have different genres, even
different genres. Like that's what it is. Like now, just let that be.
Like how cool is that though? That Star Wars has become such a big galaxy, if you will, that we can tell stories in this galaxy from different viewpoints and in different genres. Like The Acolyte. The Acolyte was wildly different to me than a lot of the Star Wars movies. And did it do well? No. But is it still some of my favorite Star Wars? Yeah. I loved it. It was so good. But I agree with you. I think Star Wars had a very, very, very difficult time with how it was structured with Visions because, yes, it's a little bit of a test because they're a shorter form. They're not canon. But to be able to put anime into such a small format is really hard. But I think they were really successful at it because not only did they just announce they released the third season of Visions, which I'm going to assume because on the end of them it said to be continued. And so in my little mind, that means there's going to be a fourth season. But they announced The Ninth Jedi is getting its own series and they announced a new manga that's right after Order 66.
And it's like kind of has that the Visions kind of like it's within this realm of Visions.
It's the realm of Visions. So is that kind of like what did they do with Marvel where it was like the
what if?
The what ifs?
Yeah.
Is that kind of like this? Because when we're talking Visions specifically,
I mean, and again, we're talking about the episodes. Like there's reference. I mean, we see some of them. They've been on Tatooine. Some of the stories have been in Tatooine. They've referenced Yoda. There was that. The reference to Darth Vader on that one Coaxium episode.
The Back to the Future one?
Back to the Future Darth Vader. But, there's references to like our normal Star Wars canon. So it's close enough, but still, and, they have stormtroopers in it, X-Wing. They have all the things that are in Star Wars. So it's just like, it's a what if. Like, if they could somehow get it in there, this is the only thing they got to change.
Dude, that last episode of the season, though, that's called Black, I was like, watching, I was like, what is this?
Like, I'm checking my, like, temperature. I was like, am I okay? Am I having, like, some kind of fever dream?
Like, that was truly a trip. What a ride that was that we went on. Before we move on from Star Wars Visions, though, let me hear your top highlight of the season.
I think it's is it Bird of Paradise episode?
Yeah.
I think that was like a beautiful episode. Mm-hmm. It really showed this Padawan kind of going through and accepting the Force and like accepting like if it was death, like learning to accept like that fear and that hatred that she kind of had. So it was like there was a lot of, it felt like a lot of story there within that short amount of time.
I would agree. To me, that felt like the most anime storytelling that we got in this season. Like I said, it was all entertaining, but like this one in particular felt like it had that beginning, that middle, and that end, and that payoff in a bit of like a Western way where you want that kind of the climax and the resolution. But just beautifully done with like such beautiful Japanese imagery too. It was just,
Yeah.
It
like
was
that watercolor paint and everything like that.
Gorgeous. It was absolutely gorgeous. So let's move on then. So that's Star Wars doing anime. They're doing a great job. Keep it going. We love to see it. I'm excited
keep
for
it
season
going.
4. Yeah. Whether it's like anime or they reach out to other studios around the world again, I'm here for it. I love it. Bring me more. Now let's move into Disney focusing on what's probably like their biggest generic IP, which is villains.
So I think this is kind of like what sparked this idea of this conversation.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh, like it's like Disney sees it. Disney sees like, and I know they didn't just like crank it out in a month.
No.
Like this has been happening for a little while, but they see that anime has like kind of made its presence known. And
in America.
Been around
forever in Japan.
But I'm talking about in the West, it's making its presence known, and that people appreciate it. Appreciate the storytelling that it has. The animation style. The quirkiness of it.
And then we'll throw our money at it too, because when we were talking about this, you were saying like, Demon Slayer opened at number 1, the Infinity Castle movie, and then Chainsaw Man just came out with a movie for their anime, and that opened at number 1 as well.
Yeah.
And so
the box offices are showing like, hey, people will go watch these animes.
Yeah. And not just because Channing Tatum was in Infinity Castle, because I forgot until afterwards. I was like, wait, who was he again? I digress. But people are willing to spend their money on this stuff.
Yeah.
And so now what they're doing, Twisted Wonderland was a mobile game that came out in like 2020 in Japan. It came out here, I think, in 2022. And it's like a character building game. I never got into it. I didn't really know about it until this show. They started marketing this show. But it's straight up truly anime. Like even the intro credits are anime. It's all in Japanese. You're like, oh, the show itself is what is it? Dubbed. It's dubbed into English, but it's very clear that this is a Japanese animation studio that is running the show here.
Yeah.
And I'm confused. At the time of our recording, there's only 1 episode out. So there's a ton of characters. There's a ton of backstory and stuff that we don't know.
Well, and again, I think we're watching it as we're watching an anime.
Right.
Right. Because there's some, I think they have a game, the mobile game that I think there's story from. And I think there's a manga.
I think there is. Yeah.
That there's probably story with. So it's like this is like we're getting it truly fed to us like a normal anime, and that's what it feels like. That we're getting these characters, things are happening, there's so much like going on. So now I'm intrigued because I want more.
Yeah, because you watch the first episode, you're like, I have no idea what this is about. I'm so lost. Yeah. But it does follow a classic anime trope where it's like your lead character gets dropped into another world, and with this one, so they're already relying on like the anime tropes, but it gets dropped into a world we all are very familiar with, which is Disney IP. It's Disney villains, and it's similar to, I don't want to say Harry Potter, but it's the easiest one, where it's like a school for magic users.
Well, there's Descendants. Remember?
There's Descendants as well, but they're sorted into houses, and each of the houses are represented by, we don't know. It's 1 season. We don't know any backstory on this, so please do not like come for us.
We're not there yet. We're not reviewing the show just yet. We wait till the end of the season.
We'll get to the end of the season. We'll talk about it more. But each of the houses is led by, I'm assuming, a villain or like the magic of a particular villain, because this whole first season is called Heartslabule, but it's the Queen of Hearts basically, and so it's her magic. But we haven't met there's still a lot that we don't know.
The main character and then the main baddie.
I don't know.
The Queen of Hearts.
Like I said, there's a lot of characters. But the interesting thing with this one is they've already committed. So Disney's already ordered 3 seasons of this. So the first one, I don't want to say the names because I'm like absolutely going to butcher them, but it's like the I'll say them. Slabule, which is Queen of Hearts. There's Savannah. No, hold on.
Savannah Claw, I think.
Savannah Claw, which is like a raven claw, but that's like Scar. And then Octavinel. I don't know what that one's for.
I think that's
that's got to be Ursula, right? Like octopus. Okay. Ooh, that one's going to be good. Anyway, so that's how it's set up right now. But Disney's going all in on this. They're not just ordering one season. It's not like the Acolyte where they're like, let's test it.
They need story. Like it's not a thing of, all right, we'll just do one season and we'll see. And it's kind of like, no, like the seasons, like they build on each other. You need at least 3 seasons. Then after that, that's when you find out if people are going to really like it or not. But I mean, I think this is like, I hope this is like the first step for Disney, because it's like, it's such a breath of fresh air that they're basically taking their IPs, which they're pretty well known to be like, oh, this is our IP, don't use it type of, don't do it in any different type of way.
Right.
They're letting their IPs over to this animation studio and doing a different story. Like it's not Scar. Yes, it is Scar-esque. It's Savannah.
Yeah.
It's, Ursula-esque. So we know the characters, but it's not those characters.
Right.
So it's like it feels like a breath of fresh air, because they're like, here's our IP, have fun with it and try this different thing. And so you're kind of like, oh, okay, like, yes, it's similar, so I know it, I feel comfortable with it, and I could get to understand it, but it's different.
Yeah. Here's where I think Disney is set up for more success with Twisted Wonderland than they are with something like Star Wars Visions, because you already have a huge fan base of people that like the villains. And you also already have this huge fan base of this mobile game. And so bringing both of those together, you should have a wider pool. You're just doing a classic anime, like a serialized anime. So I think this one is actually going to be, if they can do it right, and here's my fear, and here's where I'm concerned, is the marketing. Because I have not seen any kind of marketing for this anime. The only reason I knew it existed was because you mentioned something to me like a month or 2 ago, and you're like, did you know Disney's doing an anime? And I was like, what? That sounds no. And so I went and looked it up. I was like, oh, they sure are. And then the only reason I knew it came out was because I opened up Disney Plus and it was the top. But I had to go to Disney, and then Disney told me that this was happening. I'm not seeing any kind of like social media ads or anything like that for it. And so I'm very intrigued what their marketing strategy is for this, because I really do think this could be huge for them. And if they've already committed to 3 seasons, you got to let people know.
I mean, again, like we kind of talked about at the beginning, the cosplays that could come from these, like even from this first episode, there's so many.
The school uniforms were so cool.
There's so many like things that could come from it.
It's so good. But here's another tribulation I think that Disney has to overcome, is we have seen movies and shows get adapted from games before and not do well. We've also seen the opposite side of that, but think of like Halo. Halo was life for you for a while. You even made me play it, and that was interesting. But then they came out with a TV show, and
I think that is the part that is really hard, is having like an IP like that, like a video game IP, and taking it to the big screen and changing it too much, because it's like, oh, they've already seen the story, they already know it. Let's give them something different. You end up isolating any fan base, because the game people, the game watcher or the game player, they want to go see the story that they know and love, and that's why it became such a big success.
And like build on more of that.
Give me that story, and then or build on it, like whatever, but keep it consistent with that, what I know and love. Instead, they try to like, oh, let me bring in new people. They're gonna come watch it, regardless. But then let me get new people. So let me change the story. Let me, do all these different things. Well, those other people didn't like it in the first place because it was a video game.
Right.
You trying to make it a movie for them, they're not going to be happy about it.
Because they're trying to get new people to like the movie, so they'll go play the game. So they're trying to like double dip.
Yeah.
And that's not cool.
Yeah.
But we saw that with Halo. World of Warcraft didn't do so well. But then on the flip side of that, look at League of Legends. Arcane is one of the best shows out there. It's one of your favorite shows. Yeah, it's one of my favorite.
Like I still like I reminisce about that show. But the thing I think on that too, because like I wasn't a League of Legends player. Mm-mm. I didn't play the game, but after the show, I went to play the game because.
Oh, did you?
Well, just for a little bit.
Yeah.
But I was like, nah, this is not my type of game.
Halo's life.
But it got me to go like to that next step.
Yeah.
But again, it wasn't. I don't think they intentionally tried to get me to go play the game. It was, here's a great story, and I took it upon myself to go look at the story instead of you trying to be like, oh, let's make it. Arcane, the show is not video gamey.
No,
there's not like, I'm gonna use this move, this
power.
Oh,
look, I just got a new weapon. I just leveled up this. So it's not like that.
It's a good story.
Mm-hmm.
It's a well said story, and you're being entertained by the story, not like here's video game aspects. Whereas like again, there's this line that they have to teeter of like, oh, do I want video game people to watch it or do I want, the masses to watch it?
Yeah.
And sometimes they just don't do it right, and it's just instead. Disney, just let it be an anime, stay close to whatever your source material, like what people started falling in love with, let other people fall in love with it. And then you could kind of like grow that and go different routes.
Yeah. I'm excited for it. Like I said, I think marketing is going to be their biggest hurdle because you have so many people. Like I said, everybody lost their minds when they announced Villains Land at Magic Kingdom.
Yeah.
So why are you not marketing? Call me up. Let me help you market because... As somebody who's new into anime, I'm like, yes, this rules. We need more stuff like this. Yeah. So I hope that people do watch it and get excited by it. Because the first episode, like I said, I'm watching it and I'm like, who, what? Where? What? Again,
but I think the thing is like it doesn't, for me, it feels more like an anime. Because
100%.
You've got the character.
It's not Disney.
It doesn't feel like a 90s Disney movie.
No, not at all. It doesn't
but
look like
you've got
the
little
movie.
The creature,
the Tanuki.
The little Grimm. And,
it's fun.
So it's like it feels more like an anime than a normal Western animation.
Yeah. So I think Disney's finally learning. They're stepping into this whole new world of anime, and I think they're learning that it's not an aesthetic. You can't just like slap bigger eyes and like a big head on your Western animation and call it anime. I think they're realizing you really have to like lean into it, and it's not just an aesthetic, which a lot of that has been coming over into Western animation over time, but that this is a whole new way of storytelling. And I think they've tested the waters with Star Wars Visions and having these smaller little bites of anime to get people intrigued. But I think Twisted Wonderland is really going to be the test on can Disney, with the help of Japanese animation studios, pull off anime.
So yeah, I agree.
I'm excited for it. I'm very excited for it.
Yeah.
So if you have seen Twisted Wonderland or Visions, let us know your thoughts in the comments. This is, like we said, we're deep into anime right now. So we would love to hear all of your thoughts about it. But we would also like to mention our friends over at Roosevelt's because they sent us some new gear that's shockingly not Star Wars.
Yeah.
We've diversified our portfolio.
Exactly. It's like they don't have just Star Wars. They have like other things.
Yep.
And they also have anime stuff.
I know.
I'm wearing the Dressrosa Luffy shirt.
You're such a poser. We're not even to that arc yet.
But I've seen it, so
it's a good shirt though. I've seen
turtles.
I've seen turtles.
I like turtles.
But if you are interested in getting Roosevelt's gear for yourself, you can get 15% off of your first order using the link specifically for Princess and Scoundrel in the description.
Until next time.